Welcome. In some denominations, you'd make a trip to the pastor's study for answers to the really tough questions. Well, let's see what we can do here. Merry meet, blessed be. Depending on which way you came in, I'm Aidan Odinson, High Priest of the Temple of Gaia, or Bishop Cal Lippitt of the Universal Episcopal Church. Either way, welcome to another session in a very different pastor's study. One of the questions that I look at quite often is one of organization. Yeah. One of my favorite jokes is to say that if you think what you see presented here is organized religion, come to one of our get-togethers and you'll see we're not organized. No. But, in all seriousness, I can think of two groups with which I can express a lot of sympathy. And their histories of failure, to put it bluntly. The American Council of Witches, and something that's known as the continuing Anglican movement. The American Council of Witches was something that was from the 1970s, and had pretty much disappeared by 1974. But they did come up with a really good statement that is pretty well used. And, well, as a matter of fact, I use it as pointing to what it is that Wicca is. Yeah, that's their statement. They've had a couple of attempted revivals since then, trying to bring life back into it. It hasn't worked yet. People are still trying, and they have my best wishes. I would like to see that. Another is the continuing Anglican movement, which is a term of a group that is not a group, but it describes a group of groups of various churches and other little clusters, dioceses and whatever, that are not part of the mainstream Anglican communion or of its provinces, such as the various groups that have left, or I should say, a number of the groups that have left the Protestant Episcopal Church of the United States for a number of reasons. One of the things that I see that they have in common is that, for the most part, their individual groups, their individual local units are small. A lot of the continuing Anglican movement consists of house churches, or churches that are actually, they share space with something else. They rent space somewhere. The American Council of Witches, of course, for the most part, witches, Wiccans, pagans, will consider a small group to be not only ideal but necessary. And one reason to split a group into two groups is if it gets too large. So you're not going to find too many groups there that'll be able to afford their own building, their own mailing address, and maybe an office for somebody to take charge of things during the week, and a separate worship space, or a fellowship place, or even a combination of them all in one spot. No. But then again, oh well, they have that in common. Another thing that they have in common is if you take a look at how many total people there are in them, makes me think of a movie that I used to enjoy very much, and I would recommend it to you all, even though some of the things in there are very out of date. You'll see that it was made in the 80s. Revenge of the Nerds. Yeah. Why? The last scene in the movie, where the young man who is, I consider to be one of the heroes of the show, grabs the mic at a pep rally and says, "I've got a message to the beautiful people of the world from the rest of us. There's more of us than there is of you." And he delivers a pep talk to the ones that are not among the beautiful people, the nerds, the dorks, and the geeks. And says, if that's who you are, well, come on, let's get together. And whole bunches of them do, including the whole band that was playing for the football team. Because the football team thought that they owned everything, but guess what? There was more of the nerds than there was of the football team, and even more of the nerds than of the combination of the football team and the university staff that supported the football team. Okay. We could talk about other things that coming together would bring. A sense of authority, a sense of a body, or whatever else. But the thought, here are all these people, not one scattered bunch of groups, but people coming together. Many attempts have been done. The difficulties were the differences that they had. And the differences kept getting in the way. Too often issues of who's going to be in charge. Is our little group going to keep its identity? Our way of doing things? So, why not come together on points of agreement? Why not avoid the homogenizing machine and just come together where we agree? And guess what? There'll be a lot of us. What do we do about the disagreements? Easy. We honor them. We respect them. But we don't let them get in the way of the work we need to do on the issue that we're looking at. If there's enough of us in enough different groups, can we come together to share in a facility? Maybe one that's already there. Can we come together? And this is where Selena Fox and Lady Liberty League and their efforts have proven so effective. Can I have the symbol of my faith on my headstone, just like a Christian gets to have a cross, or a Muslim gets to have a crescent, or whatever else some other group gets to have? Can I have my pinnacle? And enough of us came together for that the answer now is yes. And I think we can get in the habit of working together. We have to not worry about who's going to be in charge. We also have to not worry about insisting on who's going to be in charge. We have to worry about getting the job done and setting aside the differences, the egos, and the agendas to get the job done. I do not want us to homogenize ourselves, but at the same time I'd like to see the job get done. And I'd like to see us get used to working with each other and getting all kinds of jobs done. And you know what? I think we can do it. Blessed be. I'll see you next week. This has been a presentation of the Wise Ones Net. Merry part and blessed be.